Good morning, good evening, good day, good night, wherever you are in the world. I am Tim, back once again for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series Singapore Grand Prix. And with me is a new co-commentator in the box this week, Elixir. How are you doing today?
I'm good. What about you? Welcome to everyone to the video, to the stream or the race. I don't know, but thanks for introducing me. How are you?
I'm doing fine, just ready to watch some action around the Singapore circuit. It is going to be very interesting today because Singapore is, well, it is just Singapore, and you're going to expect a lot of carnage, a lot of beating and banging, a little bit of impatience. It's just going to be a stellar show around this place.
Yeah, the walls are really tight around here, except of course in sector a few rounds in turn one. You could expect around the middle sector a lot of crashes, considering the layout. And also, this is one of the few anti-clockwise tracks that we have. Hopefully, no one forgets that this race.
So let's take a look at Macaulay now. The two Williams drivers going out, trying to actually get a slipstream, it looks like. So Macaulay out front, and then the other Williams driver, his teammate just behind him, that is Calvin Racing, will ride on board with him. So Macaulay, being a good teammate here, going to give his teammate a tow on their first flying lap. And who knows, maybe Calvin will be returning that favor here in a lap later.
Yeah, that'll be interesting because they're both really close to each other, and let's hope they don't make each other slow down, because if that happens, they'll have a problem here. Unless someone's going on heavy fuel for the first lap, then they have a problem. Unless they let each other through.
Looks like Calvin Racing's actually backing up to let Macaulay go ahead a little bit forward on the track. So they are not going to try the tow around here. So Macaulay is just going to be able to be the first driver to start a flying lap. We will ride on board with him. And I really want to watch his steering inputs, because it is such a difficult track, Singapore, to master. And I just want to see what the drivers are going to have to deal with. And these curbs specifically, they can really catch you off guard. But Macaulay taking that esports line, keeping half the car off the race circuit, and hard onto the brakes into turn number one. And very quick through that tiny little chicane, turns 2 and 3. And there is Drs Zone coming up just out of this right-hand corner. So we're going to be seeing a few overtakes for position on the night around this area. Not sure what the weather is going to be so far, so hopefully we can get a weather update sooner rather than later. But we do know that, oh my goodness, we actually just did get a weather update, and it's a dry quali and a wet second half of the race. So it's going to be a dry quali, dry race until the second half, and then it's going to start pouring. How much, we're not sure, but it's going to be very interesting indeed to see how that's going to turn out.
Oh, that's perfect, because Timo has went on mediums. I think he's going to try stretching it out until that happens. If he can, then he has an easy race.
And that would be the smartest decision, Elixir, is to do that. You know, you and I, of course, both know that. And Timo, he's the driver actually with the weather update. We don't have access to that unless one of them just decides to tell us, which, shout out to you, Martin, helping us out there. So, you know, with him having that information at his disposal, it would be a fool's move to not try to plan accordingly, and that's definitely a bright idea there from Timo, is to try to go out on the medium tires. If he can get a good lap time set down, then he can just stretch that out to the intermediate or the full wets. Again, not sure exactly how bad it's going to be. Macaulay hitting the wall there a little bit, but still keeping it on track and still within the lines mostly. And Macaulay going to cross the line here, but it's going to be a banker lap if I've ever seen one, and he is going to set a 140.701, so not the lap that he was looking for. He slowed down Calvin at 141.166, excuse me. And then TNR Frederick going the quickest with a 136.254. Let's take a look at Luke Bailey in the Alfa Romeo as he is in the third and final sector. Luke Bailey, a driver who really needs a good day around this race circuit. Let's see what he's going to do.
I just noticed that Calvin was not using his energy in his lap, which and he's still not using it in the second lap he's doing right now. I think I have no clue why I didn't do that, but it's confusing me a bit.
And meanwhile, let's take a look at Rogue Smithy in the Aston Martin. His first lap was no good, so he's going to have to go get on those soft tires. Meanwhile, Frederick is still in the lead with a 136.254. And then Jaime, a 136.911, the second quickest time on the board. Only 2 drivers in the 136s so far.
Timo just entered his third sector. He's the only driver out there on mediums. No one else has went on mediums except him.
And Timo, he is... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, which I think he's gonna he's gonna have an easy race for him here if he gets that strategy perfected. If not, it'll be a bit difficult for him to try getting up that positions again, or he could get a big enough gap to leader. Oh, and here you go. He got a fastest lap.
So Timo, a 136.225 in that Mercedes. And Timo, he is a driver who has found himself in an unexpected championship battle with Carwin Robb. Timo, he only joined halfway through the season. His first race was in Hungary, which he won, and that started a string of 3 wins in a row from Hungary all the way to the Netherlands. And he finds himself in second place with 151 points, and he has won the last 2 races. So a win tonight would give him another 3 wins in a row, and it would pay dividends for him in the championship battle because he is less than 100 points behind Carwin Robb with only a handful of races to go. And I don't see Carwin Robb's name on the leaderboard here, so unless he has joined us very late, he might not be racing.
Yeah, I just looked at it at the sign-ups, and he is not racing today. He is going to stay out. And I just saw Martin. He's retired. He's going to start maybe not last actually, because Schweib, I don't know how to say his name. Sorry. He also retired. I don't know where, but it's in a weird corner. I think he did it on purpose.
Not sure what happened there, but to answer your question, Shoaib is good, or Shu. I call him Shu. It's just a little bit of a nickname, so if it's easier for you, we can call him Shu, but not sure what happened there. Unfortunate for that driver. We're taking a look at SKA Adams at the moment. His first lap in the Aston Martin, it was no good, so he's going to have to go again. Most drivers, they have times on the board. Just a handful of drivers who have not yet went out on the circuit. Looks like Cassidy in the Alpine is going to be another driver to give the medium tires a go, as well as Jaime in the Alpha Tauri, who is in 4th at the moment, but we are still watching Adams right now, and we will ride on board with this Aston Martin as he is now in the 2nd sector. Going to be a lot for him to try to beat that 136.225 set by Timo. Of course, we've been talking about it, whether it's me and Oliver, or you and I, or even me and Rogue Smithy the time that he was able to join me in the booth. We have talked so much about Timo's dominance, and whether it's qualifying or a race, you're going to see him, if not in front, then definitely near the front. But that being said, I'd say that a lot of these drivers behind him are starting to get incredibly hungry, and Adams is definitely no stranger to that. So in the 3rd sector now, and a little bit loose maybe out of that corner, but Adams hanging on to it. We'll see what he is able to do and if he can get a good time down.
Oh no, he's in the pits.
So he was not happy with his lap. Adams not going to go this time. So let's take a look now at Jaime. He's on his outlap on the medium tires, so maybe he's going to try the same strategy that Timo is doing that you mentioned, Elixir, that the medium tires, just stretching them out until it starts to rain, assuming that you can do that, because we don't know exactly what lap that rain is going to start falling.
I don't think the mediums will reach to where he wants. If it's in the middle, or spot on in the middle, or after the half, or somewhere maybe before the half a bit, he cannot make it. Tire wear around here is unless he conserves his tires after the first few laps, he could maybe have to go for softs until the rain comes, which I think could still work for him because he is on mediums and is still faster than Frederick. And I remember he used to be in my other league, and he got kicked out of it somehow for not great driving.
And is this Timo or is this Jaime?
Timo. He got kicked out for not good driving.
Oh, wow. Oh, and Jime, he is spun. So the medium tire is not going to be his friend today. Jime not going to get the lap time that he was looking for. So that is unfortunate for the AlphaTauri, but there is no damage, so that will at least minimize the time that he has to spend in the garage. Looks like Timo is going out on the soft tire, or selecting the soft tires, not going out just yet. But Tom Goproff in the McLaren, he is going to start his out lap now on those medium tires, so we will take a look at him a little bit later to see how that lap is going to turn out on that yellow set of tires. And it looks like Rogue Smithy, a lot of these drivers, they must be listening to the stream elixir. They know your idea, they know your games, and they're going to try to stretch out those medium tires as much as they can.
Yeah, I was talking to Smithy before the race, and he's saying he's not feeling confident for this race. He knows that Timo is really fast around here, and that this is really a good track for him. And Smith is cutting all the corners, trying to get fast to the line. Maybe he wants to go for another set of softs at the end if he can. If he feels like the mediums are not going to reach. But I still think the mediums are going to be a risky strat. But if everyone goes on mediums, I think, if most of the people go on mediums, that'll be good. And Smithy, after his first points last race in Russia, he's now a full-time driver. I think he could get another point finish here.
Well, so far he is looking good with a 5th place qualifying run at the moment, a 137.380. Make that 6th though, because Trench has knocked him down. Trench going into 5th with a 136.921.
Yeah, I think he can. He can. It's going to be difficult for him to even try getting better because he's on mediums, and Trench did that lap on softs, which, yeah, I find it difficult for him to try improving more than that.
Well, one thing that does bode well in his favor is that as time goes on, this track is going to get a little bit grippier, so the times are going to get a little bit quicker. But that being said, the soft compound is definitely the quicker compound. Of course, we all know that, and in order to beat Trench, Rogue Smithy is going to have to find a little over 4/10 of a second. Oh, and yeah, he spins into the wall, so it's not going to be the lap that he's looking for, and that was the same part of the racetrack that Jime spun. It was just a little bit of a different look to it. So unfortunate for Rogue Smithy, he's going to have to limp that thing back to the pits. There is the Ferrari. Who is that just ahead of him? That is TNR Tegenis.
Oh,
so he is a reserve driver today. Oh, what happened there?
He just ran into the wall. He had no grip, I think, and he just ran into the wall. Oh, he's still doing it.
Really having trouble navigating that car with the wing damage. But the Ferrari driver of TNR Frederick, he is a sub for X Gamer. And then to Jonas on your screen now, he is the sub for Senna Martins. So both Ferrari drivers do not have their normal driver behind the wheel today. And Jime, he is subbing for Chain Game Wow. MX Limitless, he is subbing for Morris Pace. And Adams is subbing for Andreas. So a lot of reserve drivers here tonight. Some of these guys going to be looking to maybe prove something and say, hey, maybe I can get a full-time ride.
Yeah, that'll be interesting if, since there's 2 new reserves for the Ferraris and they're here for today. Whereas you can now see there's still 4 drivers that haven't done a lap yet. But Cassidy, and he's now on his lap. He's on mediums, also. And this track on this game, it's very, very slippery, especially around the last corner. If you try to go full power there in the race, you will spin. You might not want to go full power there because that will just you're gonna spin and you're out.
Yeah, in GP5, I noticed that corner was a little bit dicey on the exit, so you are correct there. And Singapore in general is a track that really benefits good throttle management. I heard one time that the lap here, at least in real life Formula 1, the driver is probably only full throttle about 47% of the time, if that's the right number that I recall. So, of course, don't quote me on that. It's been quite a few years and I've slept since I've heard that. But it is a difficult circuit, a very technical circuit, and as I said, benefits a driver who really knows how to control their throttle. So that is where that final corner that you were talking about, Elixir, is going to make friends or break them.
Yeah, and one of the most difficult sectors ever is probably for me, in my opinion. And it's very difficult sector to overtake. Sector 3, you got so many right-handers until you get that really long left-hander into the final finish straight. And he now, you can see Cassidy, he got 8th place on that mediums, faster than Smithy, pushing him down to 9th.
Cassidy 137.052 on the medium tire. Now looking at Tom Goproff. He is in 4th so far, a 136.344. He is out there on the soft compound tires, and let's just see if he's going to be able to improve on his lap this time around. He is in the 2nd sector. We will ride on board with him for the remainder of the lap and watch what that driver is doing in the cockpit. Really using a lot of curb in this corner right there. Got to be very careful, but you can go wide there, get close to that wall, and into DRS zone, another zone that we might be seeing a few overtakes here and there during the race, so far as time would allow, I assume, because, well, Singapore isn't known for overtakes. It's kind of known for attempts, at least in my experience.
Yeah, I find it really difficult, this track. It's really, I don't like it, for my opinion. It's just, the only part that's really interesting in my opinion is Sector 1. Sector 2, it's maybe in the beginning part, but once you get to Sector 3, it's just pain. You have to really know how to manage your game around here. And oh, we got a fastest lap from Tom Goproff, 36.0.
Good lap from Tom Goproff, really showing that he has got some muscle around this track. So we only have 3 drivers who have yet to set a time, who can set a time, and one of them is on a flying lap now in the 3rd sector. Adams, the reserve driver, but it looks like he's going just a little bit slow. And a corner cut there, so that's an invalidation.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he did that. Oh, he maybe tried going for a fast lap round now, or it's going to be very difficult for him to do. But yeah, he is. I think so. At least, no.
Yeah, he is going. I think he is going for a fast lap, so he just wasn't happy with his performance there and decided to go again. So Sky Adams just trying to get the fastest lap down, and it's going to be maybe his only lap. In fact, it is going to be his only lap because we have less than 30 seconds remaining in the qualifying session, and still only 3 drivers who have yet to set a time. Xander and Asian 2002, I just don't think that they're going to be able to get out there. In fact, they just aren't going to be able to get out there at all, so they will be starting at the rear of the field. And Sky Adams, he had a little bit of a moment there, so this might not be the lap that he is looking for either. We've got some of our front runners though finally coming out and crossing the line, and Timo, I think he crossed the line just in the nick of time. So let's watch the Mercedes driver now, because he is a driver who could realistically not only get the pole here, but the race win. And Timo, almost a shoo-in for the podium at this point. In fact, I was telling you about how when he joined in Hungary, he won his first race, and that he has won the last 2 races since. Well, in all of the races that he has run since Hungary, there's only been 1 race that he has not finished on the podium. 1. So Timo is the man with a plan. He is a dominant force to be reckoned with around this track.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what he can do in this league, and hopefully he can keep getting race wins. And and he's out. Oh my
goodness! Yeah, and Timo.
What happened there?
Well,
that was a huge crash.
He tried to turn into the corner itself, but he turned just a little bit too early and went into the wall, and unfortunately we have lost my co-commentator, at least for a brief moment there, I think. So are you back with us, Elixir?
Oh yeah, no, you can hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Something happened, I don't know what happened.
These things just happen sometimes. Oh, and Crowhawk hitting the wall a little bit there too. He is in 2nd so far, a 136.182. Maybe he's got what it takes to knock Tom Goproff off the top of the board, but it's going to be very close. Let's see what he's going to do through this final set of corners, and Crowhawk will get the pole, a 135.755, and a crash at the end. He runs into the Haas of Trich.
Ooh, well done to him. 3/10 faster, 2.5 actually. But what I understand from Timo's crash is I think he turned into the outside where the wall was pointing out a bit and just hit it. Unluckily, he wanted to do as much as he can, and it did not work for him.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Timo, but he still gets third, and here is your official starting lineup for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series Singapore Grand Prix. Crowhawk on the pole with Tom Goproff in second, Timo in third, Frederick in fourth, Jime in fifth, sixth is Trench, Luke Bailey in seventh, eighth is Calvin, Cassidy in ninth, 10th is Rogue Smithy, to Jonas in 11th, 12th is Macaulay, 13th is Martin, Shu in 14th, 15th is Xander, Sky Adams in 16th, and Asian 2002 in 17th place.
Yeah, and I was looking on his lap times, Timo, and he was going around 2/10 faster in Sector 1 than his personal best. He could have really gotten a pole here, but these things happen.
And it's just so unfortunate for that Mercedes driver. But starting in third place is not going to be all that bad for him because he is going to be right behind the leader. And while we wait for the drivers to choose their race strategy, it is time to choose our top 3 predictions in any order. Of course, this is for you and me, Elixir, as well as anyone in the chat who wants to join along and play the game with us. You don't win anything but bragging rights, but hey, we're all friends here, so it's fun. Timo, for me, obviously, is going to be a shoo-in for a podium tonight. I think that we're going to see some good stuff from Trench as well. And I'm going to throw a wild card out there and say Macaulay.
Well, I'm gonna say something a bit weird, but I think Timo's not gonna finish this race. He might crash here, and I think Frederick could get his podium here as a reserve driver.
Maybe so. Maybe so. So we are about to start our formation lap, and then we will start our race, and it is going to be a fantastic night of racing around the Singapore circuit.
Yeah, and he's on mediums, Timo. I think I'm going to change my strategy. I think he could still win this race. If he takes it carefully, of course.
But you also have to remember that we will be getting some rain at the second half of this race. So that is going to throw a spanner into all of these drivers' race strategies. Of course, I assume that most of them have planned accordingly. You see a few drivers outside of the top 10 actually choosing the hard tires around here, which normally under a dry race that is safety car free, you're going to see most drivers go from medium to hards, or at least that's the ideal strategy. But if you're trying to get into the top 10, then you're going to use the softs as a qualifying tire, and then you might go a soft medium medium or a soft medium. There's a lot of different strategies that you could really work with. I for one was going to try to do on Monday a medium to hard strategy, but there was a number of safety cars, so that really threw everything just out of whack.
Yeah, in my opinion, when I raced around here, I I got contact on the first lap, and I had to go to hards, and hards can last on this track 20 laps. The guys on hards will be able to last 20 laps, possibly. So they can 100% reach the rain.
So Crowhawk, Tom Goproff, and Timo, your top 3, with Frederick and John, your top 5. Trench, Luke Bailey, Calvin, Cassidy, Rogue Smithy, your top 10. They are in the 3rd sector now, and it's such a long lap around Singapore, and that's got to be very grueling on the drivers, especially the ones like Crowhawk and Tom Goproff and Timo, who are, find themselves in podium positions and trying to hold on to those at the end of the race. Of course, it's not where you start, it's where you finish, but track position can still go a very long way.
Yeah, I don't know, but if someone can get a good start around here, you need to have a good start for this race. Because if you get into the lead straight away, you're or in the top 5, I think. You could possibly start getting away from the behind, but I think there's going to be a safety car around the first laps. Now, as we get ready for the formation for the race.
And the drivers just finding their appropriate positions on the grid. A few of them rounding out the tail of the field. We're going to have 17 drivers and 31 laps around Singapore tonight, and this is where the anxiety sets in as you wait for those lights, and I think it's just about time to go, and here you go. You hear those engine driving, you hear those edgy pedal feet, the drivers watching the lights, waiting on the lights, waiting. This happened to me yesterday. Oh boy, I get to sit here and look at an almost full grid and wait on those red Christmas tree lights. Unless we have to go to a new lobby, who knows? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights in the air. No red lights. We are green for the Speed Force Racing GP2 Series Singapore Grand Prix. Crowhawk with a fantastic start, but the McLaren of Tom Goproff even better, and it's 3 wide in the back, 3 wide behind them for the third position as Tom Goproff takes the lead into turn number 1. And the Mercedes of Timo, he's losing a spot to the Ferrari, and already we have a spinner. I think that was Shu, who is all the way down to 17th now, and Trench battling hard with Timo, and they are side by side. Take a look at that, and now we've got the AlphaTauri of Jime actually going side by side as Timo is just ahead of this battle. So Jime not taking every chance here, not wasting any time, trying to go to the front on those medium tires. Trench somehow struggling on the soft tires to get around him, but he's going to be very patient here to let him by, but he's going to be very careful because the Williams of Calvin is right behind him. So those are 3 cars there running nose to tail. There's a little bit of a battle behind them. Tom Goproff still leads Crowhawk with Frederick now in the 3rd position in that Ferrari, and he's just a reserve driver and already on the first lap in P3.
Oh look, that's Smithy. He's also spun in the second corner, I think. That's his. He's messed up his first. He was doing pretty good in the start. I saw him go up to P8, I think, and he just spun it, and that's just unlucky. As you can now see, Adams is now also. Both Aston Martins are now. Oh, and there you go. Smithy spun again and lost his full framing.
Unfortunate for Smithy, so that's it. That is what the yellow flag in sectors 2 and sector 3 is for, but it looks like the Aston Martin has finally got the car turned back around, judging from what we're seeing on the map here. Still focused on this battle for the lead. However, there's really not much of a battle because Tom Goproff, he is really starting to sail away from Crowhawk, with Frederick slowly creeping up on that Alfa Romeo, but Timo in that Mercedes, he might be, and Frederick, he clips a curb and he slides through the first set of corners, and then he makes contact with Jime as he tries to rejoin the racetrack, so Frederick drops down to 4th, Timo into 3rd. Let's ride on board with Jime in the AlphaTauri now and see if he's going to be able to get around this Ferrari, or if maybe, just maybe, Frederick is going to be able to hold him off, and I think that Frederick is going to be A-okay, but he cannot afford another mistake like that.
Yeah, and I was looking. When I was looking at the start. Oh, he just had contact Jime with Frederick. Timo had a really good start until he had to hold off the throttle when Crowhawk had an even worse start. But Tom, he got a great start. Is now leading the race by 1 second already.
Yeah, and Crowhawk, he is really flirting with that DRS range, but we don't have DRS active right now, so it's not going to do him any good. But it's unfortunate for Crowhawk because he got the pole, and now he's not even going to be able to contend for the lead, at least not initially. And now we see Jime making a move underneath the Ferrari. Some contact from Jime into Frederick, but Jime moves into 4th. Frederick back to 5th, and now the Haas of Trench might be going around the Ferrari. Not this time, but he is there waiting and ready to pounce.
Yeah, Frederick had a good start, but then the sliding he had in the first corner and the first set of corners, that really slowed him down a lot. Oh, and someone's in the pits. That's Crowhawk.
Crowhawk surprisingly going into the pits, wondering what's going on there. Let's take a look at the Alfa Romeo driver. Was there wing damage? Wouldn't imagine there would be wing damage unless he just hit the wall. There doesn't look to be wing damage, and they are not putting a new front wing in, but he did go onto the medium tires. Not sure why, though. So Crowhawk going for the undercut of undercuts, and really I don't think is going to help him out at all. Going on the medium tires, finds himself back into the 16th position, so Timo inherits the 2nd position behind Tom Goproff, with Jime into 3rd, Frederick into 4th, and Trench into 5th. That's your top 5 after 3 laps. Calvin racing into Williams. He is very, very close to Trench, and really we have a train of cars now, all the way from Frederick in 4th back to what appears to be maybe Cassidy or even Macaulay. Let's take a look at Macaulay now. Yeah, it is all the way back to Macaulay, and even further back still, back to Asia 2002 in 11th place in the McLaren. So we just have a long train of cars, and this is turning into a DRS train, if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, this is going to be a huge DRS train around here, unless someone slows everyone down and gets the guys in front way ahead. The guy who's leading the train will probably still get DRS, except Frederick, because he's going to be pressured by Trench, because he might not have the DRS against Jime.
So the battle for the lead has not really turned into much of a battle, or even for the top spots. It's really these top 3-4 drivers starting to spread out a little bit here, but there is a move in the back. Luke Bailey actually going into the pit, so maybe he has decided that he doesn't like these soft tires anymore, going to go on to the mediums. And that is the Alfa Romeo, the other Alfa Romeo. So both Crowhawk and Luke Bailey deciding to pit very early for the medium tires. Not sure exactly what strategy they're going for there, but hey, you know what? If it works for them, then who am I to question it? And Sky Adams, unfortunately, a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, so a bad day goes to worse. He wasn't able to set a time in qualifying, and now he just can't seem to get out of the, really out of 14th place or so. He did just make a move around Crowhawk a moment ago, but Crowhawk, I feel like, is going to be able to pass him very, very easily. We'll go back and take a look at Calvin, because he is maybe making a move around the Ferrari, or at least he thought about it. He's underneath the Ferrari now. It's going to be a side-by-side battle, and Calvin is going to maybe move up into there. Yes, in the Ferrari of Frederick, he lost 2 spots in that corner because Cassidy followed the Williams through, and a good run by Cassidy so far on those medium tires to find himself up into the 6th position.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about it. I think the mediums will really work around here, because I think the rain is going to start a bit later than they thought actually, and they have to go mediums. Soft runners, they underestimated how they thought the rain would come early, but it actually is coming up pretty late to be worse, as it seems. We're not enough at least for the softs.
Riding on board with Macaulay now, because he was really using up the rear diffuser on the Ferrari of Frederick, and Macaulay just trying to find a way around this guy, and there goes Frederick into the pit. So Macaulay, he's actually made it easy for him, so Macaulay moves into 7th now, and Frederick dipping down into the pits. Crowhawk, a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, and I'm wondering, when is Tom Goproff going to decide to pit? Because Timo has already caught the McLaren, and he is there battling with him, and it's going to be a side-by-side battle, and Timo makes it look easy and clears the McLaren in the DRS zone.
And there we go, Timo's back in the lead, and he's going to have an easy race for him up ahead now.
Crowhawks at the fastest lap, a 140.936. So the Alfa Romeos, they are definitely doing something around here. But Timo, make no mistake, he is in command of this race at the moment. He has already gotten out to almost a full second over Tom Goproff, and I think that really goes to show just how much of a detriment it is to be on the soft tire around here. Someone told me earlier in the week that the soft tire, for the most part, is just a qualifying tire, but I didn't believe him until I'm actually seeing it for myself right now. Drivers pitting after 2 or 3 or 4 laps, and Timo running Tom Goproff down from what was about a 1.5-second lead on the medium tires after 4 laps. So, you know, Tom Goproff's tires, I do believe, have officially given up the ghost, and he is at risk of losing another position, this time to Jime in the Alpha Tower.
This is looking interesting. I think the mediums are really gonna. Yeah, I agree with you. I never expected mediums to be faster than the softs around here, and it seems like it actually is. The mediums are gonna work for everyone here. And I'm not sure. We haven't heard about the hard tires yet. As Martin, he's in 11th on hards, and he's gotten a bit of a gap to Sue. And Trench is now in the pits.
So Trench deciding that he doesn't want the soft tires, but look at Jime right on the back of Tom Goproff, and we might see another move for position in this DRS zone. There is Timo way up ahead. But Jime, he's got that DRS on the McLaren. The McLaren trying to defend, but ultimately can do nothing. Jime goes around, makes it look easy, but Tom Goproff tries to defend on the outside, but he can't do anything. Jime pushes him a little bit wide, and now the McLaren tries to get right to the back of the rear diffuser of the AlphaTauri, but ultimately does not have the drive off to keep pace with him. Jime pulls away in the second position. Tom Goproff struggling in third.
I really did not expect the medium tires to work this well around this track. But really, as you can see, the mediums are really a choice around here. Timo got the right strategy, and even if he has to go to soft again or hard, it's the strategy will work for him.
Taking a look at Asian 2002 now. He's in a little bit of a gaggle with a few cars. Looks like Jonas in the Ferrari is leading this train of cars with Macaulay, Asian 2002, and Shu just kind of running nose to tail here. So let's see if Asian 2002 is going to be able to find his way around that Williams. Being on the medium compound tire, I would imagine that is still the faster tire at this moment in comparison to the hard tires. Now, you give it a few more laps, those hard tires are going to start to heat up, and they're going to really come to play, and they're going to feel extra good. But for now, it's just the mediums that are the way to go. And, you know, to go back on what you were saying, you were saying how surprised you were to see that these medium tires are fast. Realistically, I thought that about now is when we would see the soft tires really be a pain in someone's rear end, but not until now, where, you know, I think it's caught us both by surprise just how early the tires have fallen off. Communication issue there with Shu's car. So we will take a look at Macaulay and stay with Macaulay. Look out the back there as the McLaren of Asian 2002 makes the move around the Williams, move him up into the 7th position. And Macaulay trying to fight back, but has to actually go a little bit wide through that corner to avoid hitting the back of the McLaren. Now let's take a look at Asian 2002's teammate of Tom Goproff. He's pretty much in a league of his own in 3rd place, which is good. So that means that the soft tires have not fallen off too dramatically. Calvin has not been able to catch him just yet, but Jime and Timo have completely sailed away. Yeah,
they're just going and I think that Tom has to pit as fast as possible. As in my opinion, he could go mediums or he could. And I think the hards, anyone on the hard tire, they have to try sticking with the mediums as much as they can until the medium tires start to go slower or start greening and getting them becoming a bit more painful, which is around lap 15. I'm expecting those hard tires to do this kind of thing. Around the time the mediums start to fall off, the hards will work really well.
And Tom Goproff deciding to make a pit stop now after 6 laps on those soft tires. He has decided that enough is enough. So Calvin now inherits the 3rd place position with Cassidy finding his way up into 4th. And now to Jonas in the Ferrari in 5th. That is the highest hard tire running driver at the moment. He started on the hard tires. And let's just see how far he has been able to move up through the pack. It looks like he has actually made his way up 6 positions, so he started in the 11th position on the grid, and now, as I've said, in the top 5. Congratulations to him so far. It's still a long race, but that is very impressive, especially around Singapore. And while some pit stops have worked in his favor, he still managed to make up 6 spots in Singapore.
Yeah, that's impressive. And now you can just now notice that Crowhawk is way ahead of Tom Goproff. I think that strategy actually really worked in his favor. Tom Goproff is more than 6 seconds behind him.
And I would not have believed it if I hadn't seen it myself, but you are right, Elixir, that Crowhawk, he is, as you said, miles ahead of Tom Goproff. And so Alfa Romeo definitely going with the preferred strategy around here, which is the undercut of all undercuts, and I didn't expect that to work, but these guys apparently know what they are doing, or their race engineer does if they have one. So don't listen to the commentator. Listen to your race engineer.
Yeah, but never listen to Jeff. Jeff will do anything to ruin your race.
Oh no, not that race engineer. I'm talking about like if they actually have someone feeding them information.
Yeah, hopefully it's that, not Jeff. Because if Jeff did that, I would always listen to him.
Yeah, I personally do not like Jeff. However, I do know at least one driver And I do believe that he races in this series, who has told me that he has full confidence in Jeff. And every time he says it, I think that he's joking, but he, in fact, is not. But it works for him, so who am I to question it? I just know that it does not work for me. Taking a look at Cassidy now, he is in a 3-car battle for that final podium spot with Calvin just ahead of him, and then to Jonas right on the back of him. And you notice to Jonas how much he's able to close up on that Alpine. I think that maybe this is where the hard tires are starting to come in, and 8 laps on those medium tires. They've still got a long way to go, but they're starting to get sort of middle of their window, where the hard tires, as I've said, this is about where they're going to start coming in. So to Jonas, here in a few laps, I think he's going to start picking up the pace more and more, and we might see him actually fighting for position inside of Cassidy sooner rather than later.
Yeah, now remember that Crowhawks, it's not really making a huge difference, but he is 2 laps newer tires than Timo, and he could get a chance to gain time in that small period of time. If he can't push those tires at that exact time where he feels Timo's dropping off, he could get a chance to get back into the race.
And of course, we are still waiting to know when the rain is going to arrive. We know it's going to happen sometime in the later half of this race. We just don't know exactly when. So until then, we have got to assume that, you know, these drivers are going to maybe make at least one more pit stop. It is lap 10 of 31, so we've got about 21 laps to go. So they are going to have to make another pit stop. And of course, if it starts raining, then they're going to have to make a pit stop anyways. You see the Ferrari up to Jonas going underneath Cassidy, as I said, sooner rather than later, but I didn't think that maybe it'd be this soon. Side by side with the Alpine, and I think to Jonas, he has got the preferred line going into the next corner, and he makes the move stick. Move him up into 4th, Cassidy back to 5th.
Yeah, there you go. Tiana Jonas, yeah, or the reserve driver, or TJ, maybe. He's getting on those cards. Yeah, it is working. The mediums are dropping off fast, and that's not good for them.
And something's happened to Martin. He is off the track, and you could see the Red Bull, the car, you know, the Red Bull just stopped there. So unfortunately for Martin, he will not be finishing this race, but that will not bring out the safety car. At least it hasn't yet. So maybe that's good for some of these drivers. Maybe it's not good for some of these drivers. Really, I guess it depends on your strategy. But unfortunately for Martin, he will not be finishing this race. Oh, and there is the safety car.
And that is confirmation from lap 5. Oh, there we go. The medium tires are boxing, or actually maybe all of them, because rain is in, I don't think it should be boxed, honestly. Rain is in 5 to 10 minutes.
Did you say rain in the last 10 minutes?
And no, around the next 5 to 10 minutes to start, around lap 15.
Oh, okay. So, in the next 5 to 10 minutes, which, yes. Now that's going to be interesting then, because these guys, they're pitting for dry tires right now, which, you know, obviously that's what you have to do. It would be a fool's move to not do that, because you don't know when that track is going to warrant an intermediate set of tires. But we're going to see another round of pit stops in the near future due to that. The question is, how soon do you pit? You can't just, you know, for those of you who may don't understand the game yet, or are just not aware, you cannot necessarily pit for the intermediate tires as soon as it starts raining. You really have to let the track soak that water up a little bit, and then you can pit for the intermediate tires or full wets if the conditions permit, and that's where you're going to be able to get the most grip possible. Where the drivers who pit as soon as it starts raining, they're going to struggle for the first few laps and wear their tires out even quicker. So just watching.
Yeah, I think if the rain is going to take some time to soak in, Timo could go on a new set of tires, as he'll gain lots of time because he can get into a good position. Yep, he's in the pits. That's what I thought. He would go into the pit and he would come out ahead of John, or he would just start behind him. And there you go. John was also in the pits. Just that's what I would have done as well. going for now. Oh, he's on. Timo's on. Timo's on softs.
And let's see if Jime goes on the softs too. Yes, he does. So I bet what they are planning on is that when they go green, they're going to try to get out ahead of everyone else to give them as much of a gap as possible when they ultimately do have to pit for the intermediate tires.
But this isn't good. As you remember, the softs aren't that good around here.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a gamble. It is a risky move, but the softs should last at least 2 or 3 laps in good condition, and I assume after that it's just a waiting game for them to fall off. So Timo and Jime, the only drivers who have decided to go for a fresh set of softs in the top 10. Asian 2002 and 12 have also decided to go for a fresh set of soft tires, so maybe he'll be able to make a few gains through the pack on the early stages of this restart. But again, we are waiting to see when the rain is going to fall and when that rain will warrant a fresh set of intermediates.
Yeah, and this track, it's all about strategy and race strategy in general. You can go and have a great tire strategy, but mess it up because of tire wear. But it really matters, because if they go on softs, they could have still have the same gap between everyone. They went on new set of tires, and they just came out ahead of Xander, especially for John.
So lap 12 of 31, Timo, Jime, Sander, Crowhawk, Luke Bailey, your top 5 with Trench, Tom, Go, Prop to Jonas, Calvin, and Cassidy. Your top 10, Frederick, Asian 2002, Shu, McCauley, and Adams. The remaining drivers on the track, 15 drivers remaining after 17 started this race. Martin and Roke Smithy, the only 2 DNFs, and if you're just now joining us, we are expecting rain in the near future, shortly after we restart from the safety car conditions. Timo,
yeah, and
go ahead, Alexa.
yeah, you can go.
We're trying to figure out who's talking, but Timo, he will be the control car when the safety car decides to pull in, and that is not going to be this lap, obviously, so it will be out for at least one more lap, and I suspect that's because Sky Adams in the Aston Martin, he is lagging a little bit behind there. You see him on the map. He's just trying to catch the back of the safety car queue, and it's such a long lap here that it's going to take him a while to get there, but he is in the 3rd sector, so he should catch them about the middle of the 1st sector. So let's just kind of ride on board with Sky Adams and watch what he is doing. I mean, obviously he's not going at pace, but it's something to watch.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Will he catch up in time or not? Wait, he's in the pits again. Oh, yeah, I was driving.
Yes, so Sky Adams, there was a communication issue with his car, and he just now got back in the car. So that is why the car was ghosted, and unfortunately for him, he had to make a pit stop, but he was already in last place, so it really doesn't matter. Putting another fresh set of medium tires on that car, so Sky Adams, he's at least got a fresh set of Dr. Fieldgoods underneath him for this restart, but he is still going to have to work that much harder to catch the end of the safety car queue. And I'm wondering if maybe the safety car is going to pull in this lap anyway and just decide that, you know, enough was enough, because eventually the safety car will go ahead and do that, but they will at least try to give drivers in the back a chance to catch up. So Xander there in the Mercedes, I just noticed he's got 12 laps on the hard tires. 12 laps is, I mean, that's a lot when you compare everyone else, you know, who has 9 laps on the mediums, 0 laps on the soft tires, or 1 lap on the hard tires for Cassidy. So Xander really just using pit stops to his advantage and staying out for that track position. And if it rains very shortly after the safety car pulls in, then this could actually bode very well for him, and he could maybe find himself in a good top 5 position when he has to pit for those intermediates.
He could possibly, if he can get past Jime. Oh, and someone spun. There's an Alpha just spun. That was, oh, you call it. What was that? Yeah, sorry. But I think if he gets past Jime, he could hold him up. and they could get either a 1-2 or he can. Oh, there's raindrops. There's raindrops.
Well, then that definitely bodes well for Xander, but he can't pit just yet. But it has officially started to rain, and the safety car is going to stay out at least one more lap. So the safety car staying out one more lap, that is going to minimize the time that these drivers have to stay on these slick tires. But the question is this track going to get saturated enough by the time they reach the front straightaway again for intermediate tires? I really don't think so. But now you got to think, what is going through these drivers' minds?
Oh, and I'm looking on the screen and from their perspective, and it looks like it's raining quite a lot. Not just little droplets that you usually expect with the intermediate rain. This looks like it's going to be heavy rain.
And unfortunately, it looks as though the lobby has crashed.
Has it?
Yes, it has. So
wait, in my eyes, I'm still in the lobby though.
Well,
no,
yeah, but
so
the race was just called by the algorithm, by the AI, but not necessarily by us. So waiting on confirmation to see if we're going to restart this race or postpone this race. We were halfway through, not sure exactly what the ruling is going to be from the league admins, but we will keep you up with that as soon as we know something.
But still on my screen, it's soaked in already, and the air in the box on inters. I guess we got an AI race for today. It's gonna be a very interesting AI race.
Well, you have an AI race. It actually kicked me out of the lobby, so I've got nothing to do except just sit here and talk. So we can go ahead and talk a little bit about what we saw at Singapore, though. And like you and I were saying, we were very surprised to see that the soft tires were just not the way to go early on. I mean, while we suspected that maybe it was just a qualifying tire, we didn't know that 2 laps would be about all you'd want to do on it. But Crowhawk, he gained a significant amount of time over Tom Goproff, and it was very impressive.
Oh, this is from your side. Everyone's still in the lobby. Or like most of the people are still in the lobby as the safety car is in this lap because people are saying they just disconnected. Safety car is in this lap and everyone's boxing this lap as well, the safety car.
All right, well then we will have to stop the stream while we figure this out, so we will be back here in just a moment.